Okay, we're going to do a lesson here from Dr. Charles Varela, a friend of mine and one of my students from the great state of Arkansas. So let's see how these Razorbacks swing the golf club. Charlie's a fairly new golfer, and he's doing really well. This is a handheld camera, so we won't get a real accurate depiction of it because it might be moving a little bit. But we want to observe some of the positions that we suggested. It's more of a, for him, it would be more of a creation lesson as opposed to a correction lesson. In other words, when you start out, you're in what I call kind of a creation mode. And then after you've played for a while, and you, fortunately or otherwise, you get into a correctional mode where there's a swing there and we're trying to correct some of the things that we see in it. But I've had Charlie pretty much from the beginning. He's gone through my school a few times, and we're going to try to watch what we see here. So the grip is a constant source of concern for all new players. It's just not that easy to learn to hold a golf club correctly. But his weight is apportioned pretty well. Straight up here is pretty balanced. His arms are hanging mostly under his shoulders, chin off of his chest. And most of the things that I see, the seat out, could have the seat out just a little bit more for balance. But we've actually got him into a pretty good setup position right now. And a couple of the things that we always pay attention to, I call this the shaft reference plane. We used to think of it as swing plane, but it really isn't. One of the things that we found through three-dimensional systems now, mine is Flight Scope and TrackMan, there's only one real planar part of the golf swing, and that is, and you can't see it on the two-dimensional video, but it is here. When the golf club reaches, now it's not going to catch it in this video because it's on the camera, but halfway down, when the club's parallel to the ground here, to halfway through, when the club's parallel to the ground over there, you measure the face of the golf club to the ground. That's the only planar part of the golf swing. That really is where swing plane is actually measured. Of course, there are two. There's a vertical swing plane, and there's a horizontal swing plane. The reason that you can't see things on a 2D video any longer, like we relied on one time until the invention of 3D, is that what you can't see is there's the golf club swinging up and down. It's also swinging in and out, which you will never see on a two-dimensional video. But all that been said, we'll use this as what we'll call a shaft reference plane. Good phrase for it. And he comes down here, and not a bad position at the top. For those listening to this, you want to try to keep the left wrist as flat as possible. The club face is pretty parallel to the original shaft reference plane, so not too bad. Hands are maybe just a little too far back with a nice shoulder turn. Left arm slightly flatter than the shaft reference plane, but not too bad. All in all, for a new player, a very good position to be in at the top. Shaft, shoulders just a little bit flatter than what we would want them. And everybody gets their Andy Warhol 5 minutes of fame, and we get to get compared to the great Tiger Woods. So you see Tiger a little steeper pitch with the shoulders here. But Charlie, you're not doing too bad on that end. So I like the position of the right elbow. The right hand's on the club pretty well. And most of the weight's on the inside of the right foot. So you've done pretty well there. Take some of these lines out and watch you start down now. And like a lot of golfers do, there's an urge to open the shoulders a little bit early. Charlie doesn't do that. He's actually there pretty good. Now, if you'll notice, one of the things that if we'll call this impact, because it's pretty close to impact, and if you go back and look at them at the address, and then see the at impact, you're going to see the one of the most common mistakes that we see of all new players, and that is that the hands do not swing with the body. They swing independent of it, far too far out. So you can see the golf club is now sitting up. Oops, get that out of there. The golf club is now sitting up the red line at 50, 54, 42, almost 10 degrees more vertical than what we started. And that leads to a lot of impact positions. If you saw many of the great players, their hand line, although moved forward, would still be about this low. But this is what we call hands high, club a little low, so it's more vertical than what it is. And the comparison on that, we'll go with this. And Sergio set up at the address. And you'll see that when we go here, and then we bring them back to the impact, that the shaft is pretty well back to its reference point. The body is completely facing, not completely, but pretty well facing the target. Hips are at least halfway open, shoulders are beginning to open, but he swings the arms back under the body, and that's the key thing. If you want to see, right here you can see contact with the heel of the club. Over here you're going to see contact with the face of the club, simply because the arms have swung back under the body. So that would be a position, Charlie, that you want to work on, is to get the arms to swing under the shoulders, not the arms to swing out too far, so that we can eliminate some of this heel hitting. Then we'll come over here, and you can see that what will happen next is, because of the rotation of Garcia's body, his golf club is going to disappear well to the left and swing up in an arc. And because we have amateurs who don't turn it as well, the club stays visible a long time down line. Again, the separating from the body. So we want to get the hand line to swing in. The club should be rotated more. You can see, if you saw this from the side, you wouldn't see a lot of release on this with the pronation of the hand, the supination and pronation of the hands coming through impact. He's holding on a little bit. Club stays there. And you can see the left arm coming disconnected a little bit from the body, and a breakdown of the left wrist. But for a new player, that's really not too bad. To get the hand line back under, and not to fire it out. A lot of times that firing out is a reaction to too steep of a shaft in a transition. When the club comes down too steeply, which this is a little steep, it's not too bad, but when he swings out that way, you'll notice the other thing too is, as the lower body lunges toward the ball, the upper body backs up. If the upper body backs up, the hand line has to swing out to make contact. And with the great players, you'll see them stay there, stay there, and stay there, and there's impact. So that's the way you do it, and that's why the rotation of their body is so key. When that left side clears, the hand line can just keep pulling in, staying connected to the body, and arcing immediately to the left. You won't see this club go but 2 frames and then it disappears to the left of him, because the golf club is swung on an inside to inside arc, never down the line, as you'll see here. And not bad for a new player. We get a lot of new players just swinging over the top or too far inside out. Path is good, it's just too straight. I mean, you'll get a little more arc on this as he gets more experience with the game and stays with it. He'll be able to release this club and come right down the line. So there you have it, Charlie. And you're doing really well, real well with the game. For a new player, we're going to keep you connected. Teach you to release the club when it comes in on a better plane. Here's where the hands want to pull in, and centrifugal force will send the club head out, not hands out and club stood up. And right after this, you want to let the foot come up, and you'll finish more left of your body eventually when you're not swing. The result of finishing so high up here, this way, and then the club coming straight down your back is the result of swinging too straight down the line. When you start to keep it connected with your body and arc it off to the left, you'll finish much more to the left that you see a lot of the young players doing now. So, but that's enough. You know, you don't want to get too technical about it. You just want to keep it nice and smooth, and use your natural eye-hand skills to play and get your fundamentals right.